All right, guys, here we go. This should be a pretty interesting video. At least learning this information was very interesting to me, and I wanted to share it with you guys. But mainly it's in regard to why and how in the world do these legacy markets like the Dow 30, S&P 500, NASDAQ, how they keep running up. And they do have, pullbacks, corrections, that sort of thing. But really, since they were implemented, they've been basically running up continuously over the years, over the decades. And one of the main reasons, and I think it's the main reason, is that they rotate companies in and out. And what I mean by that, and you've heard the Dow 30, as soon as a stock, a company starts getting a little weak, what do? And they don't quite measure up. It's almost like, a football team, pro, sports team, trading a guy, he has to go to another team or retire or whatever if their performance is not there. And is kind of the same with the legacy markets. The Dow Jones, S&P 500, NASDAQ. As soon as a company no longer meets their expectations, they kick them out and bring a new one in. And I'd never really thought of that before, but that is exactly what's going on. And it's kind of like they keep a basket as much as they can of the most, the top performing companies. And so with that said, there are literally thousands upon thousands of companies that are traded, on the stock market. And, and a lot of them, actually a higher percentage than what we might think, actually go out of business or their stock ends up going back to zero, et cetera, et cetera. And I wanted to correlate that with the cryptos, because even from 2017, there's, tech services type, coins, tokens that are no longer around, or they're not, in the top 10 any longer, not in the top 20 any longer, et cetera, et cetera. So I was thinking, we need to work on that. The little basket of coins we have, maybe, I don't know, 5 to 7, if that. And that's another topic, how many should you hold? How many, can you really watch and keep control of? And that's, that's another topic for another day. But let's say you have 5 to 7, then I would say over the next few years, you're probably going to have to rotate, 1 or 2 of those out, maybe rotate some up and coming, some stronger ones in. But of course, the majority of the ones that we watch day to day, I think they'll be here, a little bit longer than 5 years, but, time will tell, how strong their contribution to the market is, how strong, actually Wall Street wants them, the big money, if they're the darling, what they call the darlings of Wall Street. And once a company becomes a target, a buy target of Wall Street, it can do no wrong. You know how that is, kind of the teacher's pet or whatever, and it, keeps running forever. And we had posted the other day about, Apple, Microsoft, what was another one? I don't think it was Apple, Microsoft. Anyway, there was 2 or 3 that, it took several years, actually 20 something years to 40 something years to reach $1 trillion market cap. And let's see if we can pull up Apple right now. Here it is. And this is the monthly, each candle is a month, so we could get all this, on the screen. But, back in the 80s, you could get this thing under $1. It was pennies. And then it went to, finally, when did it get into the dollar? When did it hit $1? Around, 2004. And it's, it started being traded back in 81. And then, of course, it's history from then on. But, it took a while, for it to get established and then start running and so on and so forth. But Bitcoin has done it, since what, like less than 12 years, 11 years, whatever it was. It's ran up into, and it's still young. It's still like a baby. 10 or 12 years is nothing at all. Regarding a company, a stock, any type of asset to be traded. So we still have a long ways to go. In the crypto market, and versus the fiat currencies that generally only last a few years, and then they're replaced. But we can get into more of that later. But the main thing here, I just wanted to show you how these things, by rotating out the bad companies, so to speak, rotating in the good ones, they were able to keep the power curve going and expanding. And as you can see, even on the monthly chart with any of these legacy markets, and that's the SPY. It's basically just an ETF of the S&P 500. So you can have the S&P 500 in your portfolio without buying a jillion stocks. And then if you just watch the monthly chart, this is 2007, 2008, y'all. Remember that catastrophe. But anyway, as soon as a green candle here, monthly candle, took out a previous red month, or 2 months, as in this case, at least the close, right here was the month April 2009 was the breakout month, and then it's just been history ever since. And then see how it's been hugging that 20 ever since, and really hasn't traded under it very much, and then got back over it. And that's why we use the 20. Now we're getting a little expanded here, so we're expecting some sort of price action to come in to the downside. And based on this, I think it's really this 3-day chart here, is ascending wedge formation. High percentage of the time the market or asset, whatever, crypto, falls out the bottom. And this goes up, the peak is May 10th here. So the first part of May, maybe even before that, but at least first part of May, when we get to the end of April, 1st of May, we're going to be definitely on high alert, thinking that, or anticipating this market, not necessarily a collapse, but pullback, correction, whatever you want to call it. And then we'll see how deep we go. But at the same time, if they keep playing their little games, we could bounce up and over this top trend line. And it's been done before, up and over that top trend line, and keep running, okay? So it's going to be interesting, the end of April, 1st of May, what happens here. Goes the NASDAQ. Yeah, see, we've already done that. We popped over it. Now we come back in, yeah. But that line goes back to, December 2015. See, hit, hit here, got a little over it, came back in, traded over a little bit, definitely came back in. But the NASDAQ generally runs the fastest, hardest, in either direction, up or down. So that's why we have that in here. So time will tell. But anyway, I just want to bring that to your attention. That's the secret, I guess, of the stock market, is that they rotate the best in to keep the party going. And I think we need to take that same philosophy in the cryptos, not be, just look at them as, professional athletes or whatever. And as soon as the performance starts waning, we cut them and bring in a new up-and-comer. So, all right, guys, have a great rest of your weekend, and we will see you on the charts.